This band will take you on a cinematic journey with every melody. With each member hailing from different parts of Canada, they each bring a unique element to their sound. For the Vocalist magazine presents, this is Shyre.
Tongues are tied with salt from the sea.
I would say that our music is honest and educated.
I feel like some people write music for movies, but I feel like I almost create the movie for the music in my head. So very visually driven colors and textures and kind of another world.
To go in the same vibe as Sarah, I would say soundtrack. It's basically a life.
Where did you first discover music?
It's always been a really strong force in my life, I think, throughout the years. But when I was a 2-month-old baby, my mom told me this. She was playing A Christmas Carol, kind of on a tape, Silent Night, and apparently I just wept and cried. It was a very profound emotional experience, which she was very freaked out by as a new mother. But yeah, I think it's just always been something that's moved me very deeply in terms of self-discovery, though I'd say it really started with my music lessons when I was about 8 years old. I started with classical piano, so over the course of my classical piano education, I generally morphed into an aspiring jazz musician, so I'd play things more in the improvised jazz realm. And then the first show that I ever performed, I was playing piano and singing a jazz standard, so it really kind of married the two elements together for me, and now they're stuck.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, teamwork, eh? Les amis.
Wow, this mic is so nice. I've always been composing. It just started with piano songs, and I'd make up little songs to tease my cousins or little songs to express a certain emotion. And then I think in high school is when I started adding lyrics about romance and teenage hormones and stuff. So yeah. Before going to music school, I really had an idea in my head that I wanted to create my own project out of it, because that's just something I've always wanted to do. And then when I got to McGill, I realized that I was so surrounded by all of these talented people who had also spent hours and years just working on their passion and dedicated to this craft. So there was one class actually that most of us were in at the time. We were all in our first year, a jazz theory class, and I was putting together this recording session because I'd met this sound engineer also at McGill, and I just needed some players to kind of put it all together. So I assembled a group of people, and yeah, some of them are still in the band today, which is really great. So I think McGill and just being in that environment helps me be exposed to the community and just meet a lot of people who are willing to work on stuff.
Mm-hmm. Tear-stained green eyes, chromatically descending.
The first performance happened in 2013 at the inaugural edition of a festival called Festival de la Voix that celebrated the art of voice. But I assembled this big group of string players. It was myself and I think 5 string players and 2 backup singers. I just went all out for this little 20-minute performance. But just feeling that response, it was the first time I'd performed in a group, really. I'd been in a few bands, but kind of thrown together things. But this was first time I really laid my heart out in a room in front of people, and I think, yeah, I was like, this is what I need to do.
And the band name Shyre, what does it mean exactly, and how did you come up with it?
Yeah, it's a mix of the letters of my name, actually. So Sarah, S-A-R-I-H, Rossy, R-O-S-S-Y. If you like flip them, creates Shyre, add an E. Yeah, it's a little puzzle.
Visions flailing on by, having so much more to live.
When you compare the two EPs that you guys have put out, what are some maybe distinct differences between them, or are there differences at all?
Yeah, you can definitely hear the evolution between the two. The first one's a little more orchestral. I put it together all myself with a bunch of students and student engineers and stuff like that. So it's a little more DIY in style, but you can really hear kind of a younger character. You hear there were strings, there was a harp on some of the tracks. It's a little more orchestral and arranged. And then the second EP is a little more like full band sound, like we were the set members of the band at that point, so it sounds a little bit different, but we tend to do both. So Bare Bones comes from the first CD and Atlas Flags from the second.
My cymbal stand will not fall today.
Let's see about that.
It will not fall today.
of the knife that's torn us apart, casting shadows on the glow of your skin. So now I sit here in dark.
Every band has their characters. So I heard, Frédéric, that you're kind of like the dad of the band, and Sarah, you're kind of maybe the more eccentric one a little bit, Natalie a little bit more energetic. So where does everybody fall in the band in terms of that?
I'm definitely like the manager, so like the father. I'm try to take care of everybody so that like they're all happy when we're all on tour and we're doing like really long days and stuff like that. So I try to take care of everyone.
Fred's definitely like, he drives the van.
Organized,
He makes sure that
meticulous.
we're all okay. Because touring is pretty stressful, but like he definitely provides for everyone, which is really nice. As well as plays violin, which is great. Natalie is like our puppy. She falls asleep in the van, and but like is very charismatic and outgoing and kind of keeps it fun, which is great. Victor, the violist, is kind of like everything against the grain. If you say left, he will say right. Yeah, and he has a mission to like popularize the viola, or just, I guess, show people what a viola is. So he's kind of like the out there artist type. And then lastly, we have Joe, who's our bass player, who doesn't say much, but when he does, it's like powerful, musically and as a human, which is cool.
Guys, I took a mental health day today and just decided to practice 4 hours instead of going to school.
It brings a big diversity in the band, and I think that's a really good thing. To have Natalie from Vancouver, and then Joe, our bass player, from Moncton in New Brunswick, and from Gaspésie, east of Quebec, and then Victor is from Ottawa, and then Sarah's from Montreal. Having all that at the same place, with all different backgrounds, like, I mean, my grandfather was a fiddle player, which is quite different from what we're doing in the band, but you know, there's for sure a bit of that like,
Yeah,
it's gonna come out, like sneaks out for like.
Like the Ashes say thing is like, if we didn't know, like it doesn't communicate why you're there. It's just like mysterious. It's like random. It's really funny.
Every time we get on a stage for us is like the result of hours and hours of work, and every time we get on stage, it's just passion that we just can like just let go. For me, one of the most beautiful time was in Kamouraska about 2.5 years ago, and it was our first show sold out that we ever played. So it was like a really powerful experience with like little kids just sitting by us, and like, yeah.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
We could see the sunset during the show
So
on the water.
yeah.
What's really cool about the Jazz Festival is that there's just so much happening all the time. And it's such a cool vibe. So we hung out all week downtown and we took little videos on the festival grounds. They have the area for kids with like all the outdoor musical instruments. And so we just went and like played music there through just being present in this place where there were so many people already. We really had, I think that the Jazz Festival is special because there's just so much happening.
Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes and call me on and on across the universe.
Rehearsing really isn't maybe what people think. Rehearsing is not like playing a show. Rehearsing is challenging in the sense that we challenge each other and we challenge each other's ideas, and we have to not be afraid to be honest with each other. And if I'm not performing well, or if I can do something better, or if we want to get deeper into something and draw something better out, sometimes that can cause friction or whatever. And so luckily we get along very well. But as we all grow as musicians individually, to come together as a group, it's just really an example of iron sharpening iron. We make each other better but that's not an easy process. To become sharper as a group requires that friction and that rubbing on each other and bringing the best out of each other. So rehearsing can actually be quite a challenging process.
It's an orbit, it's a pattern, it's a cosmic clash to all that you live for, right in front of your eyes.
I think to be said about the fact that there is two strings instrument in the band, which is kind of not typical because there's no guitar player. So when guitar plays, guitar will provide both harmony, melody, and rhythm. And when there is strings, it's really hard for us, me and Victor, to be more than melodic. So a lot of the time in the rehearsal, we're going to be trying to find new ways for the string to provide rhythm, a bit of harmonies, to fill up those other holes that happens maybe in the music. Yeah.
From a downward slope that lead to the sunny side. Oh, and
Thanks to our education, we've all developed individually. Like we all spend at least a couple hours every day alone in a practice room developing our craft, so that when we come together, we're always bringing a better version of ourselves, actually. So what's been cool is that over the last 3 years, we've all grown so much at our instruments. So our artistry and our ability to express who we are as individuals through our musical instruments has become easier and it's become deeper. And so I think that bringing that to the group has just like enriched the group's sound and what we're able to do together, or what we're able to create.
We have 5 personalities really different, which all bring something different to the table, as you were saying. But at the same time, we're all doing that for the honesty of the music. We just want our music to be heard, basically. And so when the goal is that honest, simply, I think we're going from there. We're gonna go somewhere just because of that.
I think that that's what makes what we bring so rich and beautiful and unique, is because we're not homogenous. But because we don't mix, I think we adapt to each other and we see how we can work together and how we make each other better and how we can value each person's different qualities.
We got into a really interesting process of like, where do we want our music to go? There's so many options of like general music, and we want to have a consistent idea of the lyrics that are in the songs and on the album. And so it's been a really global question about like who we are as a person, each of us, one of us in the band, and then as a band, where do we want to go, simply. One of the things that we are going to be working towards on that new album is maybe having music that's going to be more to be listened while dancing, or just being like up, instead of being like a show where people sit down and listen to music. So maybe there's a bit more groove from the drum and stuff like that.
And bass, drums and bass.
But yeah, it's been a really, really interesting process of like discovery, basically.
faces peril for a day. Sequestered origins hide below, hide away. mystery on a grave. Incandescent victories are figments, fragments, but filaments of shame. In an apricot sky, I hear the sirens cry. I see it now. What lies ahead is already. I see it now. As leader of the lost, I raise an atlas flag. Ooh, but I can dig and cry, and the truth, the bitter truth, will still slip by. Ooh, I need a fix from something alive to restore and relent from feeling the poison behind the curtain. I'm undeserving. I see it now. What lies ahead is already. I see it now. As leader of the lost, I raise an atlas flag. I see it now, now. I see it now. As leader of the lost, I raise an atlas flag.
What would you say is your biggest accomplishment as a band so far?
We've played a lot of shows.
Yeah.
I think.
I think that's something different from a bit different from other new artists. Since I'm from Gaspésie, I basically tried to bring the band over there a few times, which worked. And so when we calculate how many shows we played over the past like 3 years now, we were like around 150, which is like amazing.
A lot of shows. But I think what's more special about the number is that the number of cities that we've gotten to visit and the number of people that we've been able to touch through all of those shows. So that's, I think, a big accomplishment that we're all really proud of.
And I would add that in order to play all of those shows and to touch all of those people, our accomplishment as a group, as a team, is that 3 years later, we're still here. And we actually work better together today than we ever have, really, I would say. Like, our ability to pack the van and be organized, and it's an accomplishment. And understand that when we go to these places, when we go to play these shows, everybody has their role, everybody has their strength, and we've really learned to play off of each other's strengths in order to succeed in our goal, that is to play honest music and meet people and travel. And
My soul through my veins, a stone cold war.
What are some of the biggest challenges that come with pursuing a musical career?
Ooh, employment, security, societal disapproval. No, I think it's generally, we're all about to graduate, so I guess we'll answer that question on the next episode. But I think It's a lot of open communication, like I said before. Like, we all have to be totally open and honest with each other and just very clear and good at communicating. I think those are true with any aspect of life, but especially when you're on the road with people in one very small hotel room, one very small van, in one very small recording studio. Like, a lot of it is just learning how to deal with people, and I think that's been a big challenge because we're all so different.
The sum is greater than its parts, that's for sure. We actually do have a role in society, believe it or not. And I think that if, as not just artists, but as artisans, we take what we can contribute to society seriously, if we take our craft seriously and we're committed to honing our craft and creating something for others, then we'll continue to have this sense of mission where we have something to create, we have something to express, we have something to bring to people, and everything that we do is in order to accomplish that mission. I think we all have our own weaknesses. I am very familiar with my weaknesses, but we can encourage each other to stay motivated in the little things and faithful in the little things so that we can really accomplish this mission together.
Where do you see yourselves in the next 5 or 10 years as a band?
I would like to travel the world and see the world through music. And really, I think the meaning of life boils down to we're not so different as humans. And I think we've really seen that through connecting people all over Canada thus far. And I'd like to kind of leave the continent, the country, and just see where that could go. Like, I'm really interested in touring through Europe and other parts of the world. So hopefully at that point, we will be kind of needing to stamp our passports a little more.
Yeah. I think in the last 3 years, we've experienced the first baby step of what we're going to be able to accomplish together as a group. And I think that as we learn to work together and be open and hone our craft so that we can create more, and as we work towards excellence as individuals and as a group, I really think that what we've accomplished during this one little season of our lives is really just going to be like the launch pad for what's coming. Yeah.
Full of metaphors. Yeah, it's going to be fun, I think.